So we're kind of out of news stories, but from a personal perspective, I've got news. I have now, it literally says on the docket here, Rich, quote unquote, downgrades from 8K to 4K.
You
and
did
it's
it.
true.
You downgraded.
I did. I downgraded. In my living room, I had an 8K TV, 75 inch. It was supplied by LG back in the day in 2020. We wanted to do a video about HDMI 2.1 and all of the various factors it had, and 8K was one of them. So 8K was the screen that LG supplied. However, now I am at a 77-inch OLED LG C1, and the route as to why that happened is kind of roots back to something you were saying on Twitter, John.
Yes.
Where you were looking at Artings and you were talking about the durability of LCD panels, right? And the fact that there's a lot of issues with LCDs that seem to crop up over time. And that's exactly what happened with the LG Nano cell screen I had, which is that I'll try and give some photos to Oliver here. They're pretty guerrilla. These were literally just screenshots, photos I took to send to repair centers to say, can you fix this screen? But essentially what happened is that one day the screen just turned itself off and I couldn't turn it back on again. And then I think maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, I could turn it on again. Everything seemed fine, except the left half of the screen was now significantly dimmer than the right half. And it was really kind of, it's just sort of got progressively more annoying. It's only really on bright content that you notice the difference. So, general stuff. If it's pretty dim, it looks the same. But, as soon as you have like the sky or, a bright news set, it just looks pretty bad. Or The Simpsons, as is the case in the examples here that I used to show the problem. And the bottom line is that the machine, the display was out of warranty. LG couldn't help me. They suggested some repair shops. I contacted them. Some of them didn't reply at all, but one said, okay, this looks like a problem with the open cell. I'm not sure what that means. They asked to see the exact model number and serial number, which I gave them. And they basically said they couldn't source the part. And so, basically I'm left with this TV that I couldn't actually fix. And just got progressively more annoying over time. So Facebook Marketplace to the rescue again. We'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, essentially, there was a guy about 20 miles away who was selling an LG C1 in pretty much perfect condition for about £1,300, which is what I paid for my 48-inch CX. Right. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to get a better deal than that. I had to pay a man in a van like £100 to move it, but I'm still quids in versus like the cost on eBay. And, LG 77-inch 4K, and I'm very, very happy with it. It is better than the Nano cell. It doesn't really, no real surprises there. OLED betters LCD. HDR is much better. Contrast is much better. Viewing angle is much better. It's 2 inches bigger on the diagonal, although the screen weirdly seems to be lighter and smaller than the 75-inch LCD. I can't quite get my head around that. And that's where we are at the moment. And I have indeed downgraded from 8K to 4K, but the point is that there's been no 8K content in the 2 years, right. 3.5 years since I've had that screen, apart from when I plug in a PC, which I don't tend to do in my living room. So, the downgrade is a net win.
It's always a net win. 8K was silly from the moment they announced it. But when they slapped it on the side of that PlayStation 5 box, I'm still waiting for it, Sony. That firmware that unlocks the true 8K potential.
How did they get away with that? I don't understand. It's like on the box.
I don't know.
They never actually supported it.
Well, what I can say, and I've said it in the past, is that when you do actually have gaming content at 8K on a living room display of that size, but you're like several meters back, or even like pretty much just in front of it, I actually think what it presents as is a superior form of anti-aliasing, but not a game-changing effect that you would expect from 32 million pixels per frame versus 8 million.
Jesus.
But there have been some interesting questions about my purchase from supporters. Let's start with, it seems to be all about Facebook Marketplace, not the screen as such.
Okay.
Ishvac says, how much is Rich getting paid to endorse Facebook Marketplace? What can I say? It's become my my sort of go-to place for picking up stuff on the cheap.
You've gotten stuff for me there too.
I've gotten stuff for you and Alex, which I still need to deliver in person. But yeah, we got this question from Dissector that, Rich, in your quest on Facebook Marketplace, how many bizarre quote-unquote headless photos of prom dresses or last season's Primark miniskirts did you have to click through?
That's so true.
So you say it's true, right? But the more you look at Facebook Marketplace and the more searches that you put in, sort of
the
stuff that, the algorithm adapts to service your particular needs, which is how this item came up in the first place. I wasn't searching for a 77-inch OLED. It just knew that I wanted one. So let's have a quick look at what Facebook is actually recommending to me at the moment.
Well, let's see.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Take a screen of that.
We've got, let's take a look here. We've got a mixed selection of Sega consoles, including a multi-mega, John.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, he's got like Genesis. He's got a whole bunch of Genesis games. He's got a Mega Drive 2. He's got, looks like the Japanese Mega Drive there. Okay, let's go back to see what else we've got here. This is the thing that really annoys me. You get these embedded adverts that look like Facebook Marketplace ads, but actually just take you back to TeamU or whatever. HP Omen monitor. What else we got here? A whole bunch of graphics cards. This is quite interesting. A 1998 Porsche Boxster. But the point is that I am getting C64 Mini, which is nice. Titan 6GB, £50. I mean,
nice.
If I didn't already have one, I'd probably be buying that.
The first one on my list here, it's a 2017 Mercedes-Benz AMG GTS for $105,000. Knows my taste.
It knows your budget as well, seemingly.
Clearly.
Just looking through this Nespresso capsules. Yes, I do get some of those on Facebook Marketplace because they're a lot cheaper. PlayStation Portal, £190. Interesting just to see how they're keeping their value on the second-hand market. Big bunch of PC stuff here. A Dreamcast, Xbox Series S. I guess it's still sort of responding to my quest for the sub
120 euros for an Asus ROG Phone 2.
Yeah, you see. It definitely knows me. It's like Sony mini disc player here.
It knows what?
Yeah,
I
it
want
has
that.
become one.
I love mini discs.
Let's take a look at this. Acorn Electron Computer and Games.
Oh yeah, I knew.
So you know, it is basically like eBay but curated and typically a lot cheaper than eBay. You know, so you know that's kind of why I'm into Facebook Marketplace. This question from Perfect Organism. I'm so curious how you paid for a 2,000-3,000 TV on Facebook Marketplace. Well, it's 1,300, but less the technicalities of it and more the emotional aspect of it. Did you take cash and risk a mugging? Did you
a mugging?
Did you YOLO a bank transfer? Was it a daring friends and family PayPal transaction? Well, you know, typically when you actually make contact with people, you kind of get an idea of whether they're trustworthy or not. And typically, if somebody gives you their home address, I think it's pretty much kosher. You typically also see things that are obvious fakes as well. Like, you know, there seems to be a weird thing where everything you possibly could want, like high-end Apple equipment, is like £84 or some other ridiculously low, somewhat arbitrary amount.
Not real.
So you kind of get an idea. I did pay for this with bank transfer, by the way, but after I'd been to the guy's place and seen the TV and had a go at it, make sure it was fine. And it helped that he was actually somebody that knew about Digital Foundry and knew who I was.
Oh, right. That's great.
Which has happened a few times now.
Yeah, I've had that. Gosh, this almost makes me nostalgic when I was building my CRT Armada here, driving around Germany and like just going to random houses to pick up CRTs. It was a good time.
Yeah, but yeah, that's exactly what my experience is. And yeah, I've bought a big bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace now, and I have to deliver it to you guys because you know I've got you a Naomi and a Naomi 2 arcade board at this point, John.
Yes,
numerous motherboards for you, Alex. So,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, I'm excited.
But that's my
I
news.
need more motherboards.
I've downgraded. The funny thing is, of course, that there are now 8K to 4K downscalers, which I expect would actually make 8K content look pretty much exactly the same, probably better on the OLED because of the better contrast ratio and whatnot. So yeah,
Yep.
that's where I'm at. I'm really, really happy with a 77-inch LG C1, and it's got the decent black frame insertion as well, John.
That's true. Oh man,
The actually good one. The C1's the last one, right?
It's the last one with the 120 hertz BFI. They got rid of it after that.
Yeah, the guy I bought it off had actually upgraded to a new 65-inch Sony OLED, which he says is the best TV apparently out right now.
Sony's OLEDs are real good. That's for sure. They do make great OLEDs. Absolutely. Samsung does too now, but I feel like all those. I need to say, Sony might have the same issue. Basically, with the QD OLEDs that I've seen, at least the way they treat the screen, like it's like the screen treatment means that if you're in a light room, the screen sort of physically reflects light back, making it look lighter. So it doesn't look completely black. Like if you're in a dark room, it's still perfectly black like OLED, but the material doesn't look completely black when you're in a lit room, which actually kind of washes out some of the contrast a little bit. It's very weird. I don't know why they do that, and hopefully that changes. And maybe it will in the new generation.
Okay, cool. I guess that's all I've got to say about my TV.
That's cool.
I'm quite happy about it. There it is.
I want to get a 77-inch as well at some point.
Yeah,
I'm eyeing the G4, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that I bought it is simply because I just don't have the budget for a brand new one. And the screen I did have was just annoying me with this kind of like the fact that the left-hand side was not as
couldn't deal with that.
It's just, baffling.